Hi, welcome. In this video, I want to talk about indicators that that you're about to get bitten. Okay, and more so, kind of following the line of a trainer type of situation where you're interacting with dogs that have gained a higher level of control in the relationship. So again, just information to put out there to help people avoid situations. Okay, where you could set yourself up to get bitten. Now, here's the thing. I've only been bitten one time. What I would consider a bad enough bite to mention it, okay, in 30 years. And again, it's not meant to put that out as, bragging rights. Because here's the thing, is that, you could be using treats and bribing dogs and never get bitten either, okay? But it doesn't mean anything, because it doesn't mean the dog's changing either. Okay, it still means that dog's still holding control because you're engaging in bribery. Okay, understand that's not what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm talking about interacting with dogs in terms of asserting influence. Okay, bring them under control, starting to follow the right path. Okay, starting to change perceptions the right way. But again, talking about things to look for. Okay, and this is the whole kind of dogs that are sketchy, as I call it, right? Sketchy means that you have a sense, okay? You have an awareness to say, okay, this isn't going to end well in about 1 second, okay? You feel that from the dog, okay? You sense that, it's getting intense, and this is how people get blindsided, or they don't see it coming. But here's the thing, okay? There'll be warning signs. In fact, even to kind of walk it back further is that, especially if you're just kind of new, starting out with a system of training where you're, again, interacting with dogs, there's things you want to do. Okay, I'll mention that as well, because that's a big focal point. Because again, I understand when you get in a situation where, you're reading the dog's body language and you're like saying, this dog is sketchy, man. I'm about to take a hit here very quickly. Okay, you never want to get in that situation. I understand it's happened to me, a few times. Where you kind of, because understand that can still happen, and then that's the moment. Understand that's the moment to pass that dog back to the owner. Okay, that de-escalates it, because what it does, it gives the dog back control. Okay, the dog gains comfort again, not the right way in terms of fixing the relationship, in terms of your general theme. Okay, it's just like getting out of a situation type of thing happening there. Okay, where you're like, okay, I need to gear this down here a little bit. I need to process this more through that owner for a certain period of time before I take that dog. But understand that, when you're encountering a certain number of dogs, and so for me, it's like probably about 40% of all the dogs I encounter, I won't or can't touch or shouldn't touch. Okay, if it's a board and train situation, okay, it's going to be a little different because I have to touch them. Okay, but then there's where I'm getting the owner to put that dog in the crate right upon drop off, and I'm using that muzzle. Okay, it's a whole different type of dynamic. I'm taking the extra time. Okay, you'll see me on my videos lining it up. But if I'm going into a home situation, okay, I'm getting a sense pretty quickly, because here's the thing that you need to do. Okay, this is why I say about kind of the litmus test or an awareness or revelation, is I'm getting that owner to get that dog on a leash pretty quickly, and getting that owner to start to interact with the dog and looking at the level of challenge coming from that dog. I'm lining it up. So that gives me a level of awareness right there. But here's the other thing. When I'm looking at a dog, and even when I enter someone's home, I can feel that level of intensity. Okay, I know pretty quickly, where I'm at. Okay, with that dog, because again, you'll feel it because you walk in there, and it's a certain vibe that you're giving off to the dog. Where I'm walking in a certain way, and that dog, I sense pretty quickly, that dog is really that dog will trigger up. Okay, that dog will trigger up for me really quickly. So I guess I just have that way. But in terms of revealing the truth very quick, because that's the thing. Understand, I'm walking in, I'm not, looking to pet the dog, right? I'm not taking a path of bribery or accommodation. I'm walking in terms of a power play or control. But understand, I'm not doing anything aggressive. I'm not like confronting the dog, but these dogs sense. Understand, dogs sense. But all to say that in terms of avoid getting bitten, in terms of dealing with a sketchy dog, is you always, if you're not sure, you shouldn't be touching the dog to begin with. Okay, now if you're dealing with a smaller dog, a dog that's gained a lot of control, you can get away with certain things anyway, because you know the dog's going to spin out or whatever, but the dog isn't a threat of physical harm that way, because you have the leverage or the advantage that dog's smaller. But we deal with dogs like pit bulls and, you know, German shepherds and dogs that are, you know, bigger dogs, Dobermans, you know, huskies and certain breeds that are big. I mean, you got to be really cautious. Okay, you got to, because again, understand that once a dog bites you, it changes everything. Okay, even in terms of, you know, whether or not that dog can be saved, because that dog may not have bit anyone before you showed up, only because the dog was in control of everything for a certain period of time. But suddenly you take a hit and you get bitten, and it can really change the whole dynamic of things, because now, number one, you probably don't want to work with that dog, and then that owner's just witnessed the dog bite somebody, and it changes, you know, whether or not that dog can even be saved. So you want to really make sure that you're taking the time to follow the right script, okay, when you deal with certain dogs. And don't put yourself in the position, work through that owner. That would be my encouragement, is process it through the owner. It takes a little more work because you got to coach the owner, and sometimes, you know, taking a dog and being able to show exactly, right, visually, it's a lot, can be a lot more helpful for people to see what you're doing. But if that dog's going to high challenge or you could get bitten, it makes no sense to do that. Okay, you just got to line up through that owner. You got to coach that owner. You got to take your time. That's the better way. And even with using a muzzle, and more so if you're taking that dog and you say, well, I really do want to take that dog, get the muzzle on the dog. But then the dog's going to go in a high challenge anyway. You're not going to have the clarity. You know, you need to be able to have clarity. That dog's going to go in such high challenge that you're not going to be able to intentionally show the method properly the way that you want to show it to the owner. So always better process it through the owner. So my encouragement dealing with sketchy dogs is you'll get that, you'll start to feel that, and then it'll draw you to the beginning point with making sure that you're not putting yourself in a situation where you could get bitten anyway. But understand that one thing you really want to develop is really, really good leash skills, okay? Kinetic leash skills, okay? That's saved me more than a couple times when a dog has come up, you know, onto me or tried to get me. I've had a couple close calls, and I'm able to redirect that dog and spin that dog, even the bigger dog, be able to spin that dog out. You know, it's really, so good leash skills, good awareness, those things are important. So but again, just something to be aware when you deal with some dogs is you got to really know what you're dealing with. You're dealing with dogs that gain a high level of control. People, you don't want yourself to get bitten, you don't want other people to get hurt. You got to really know what you're doing. Thanks for watching.